Thank you, Nicole. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Robert Hutchings. I'll be chairing the hearing today. I'm joined on the panel by Gail Anderson and Lynn Nesbitt. Our assessor today representing the City of Winnipeg Assessment Department is Victoria Ho, and our administrative personnel is Nicole Carnegie. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so included with this board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As is information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. Today we will be hearing items 3 and 4 on our docket. Ms. Carnegie, please affirm the assessor and applicant's testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Assessor, please state your full name.
Victoria Ho.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Henry DuPont.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carnegie. Good afternoon, Ms. Ho, Mr. DuPont. First item on the docket today is item number 3, file number 22-1637. Address is 1054 Portage Avenue, and we're dealing with a 2023 Realty Assessment Appeal. Ms. Ho, when you are ready, please. Just pulling up your brief.
All right.
There we are. Okay. Okay, Ms. Ho, when you're ready, please. 1054 Portage Avenue.
All right. So row number 12081164100. We are looking at a reference date of April 1st, 2021 for the roll year of 2023. There is a split on the classification. The 60 portion is assessed at $1,109,000, and the liability is taxable. And there's a 40 portion that's taxable school exempt, assessed at $1,201,000. This is currently assessed as a commercial strip mall, one whole building with 6 premises. Actual year built is 1982. Overall leasable area is 13,415 square feet. As you can see on my page 3, we have some lovely pictures of the subject property. And page 4. So you can, unfortunately, it's difficult to see and get an entire view of the street from the street view. So I had to take a couple shots. And there is also back lane parking in the back lane behind the property. Page 5, you can see there's some there's responses for the INEs, and there's a sale history of $1 with a sworn value of $2,425,000. We have some rank comparables of properties in the area to support the income and workup of the on the next page, ranging between $12 to almost $20 a square foot. They're all in the neighborhood area, ranging between 917 square feet all the way to 13,653 square feet. And if you go to my next page on page 7, this is the workup for the 60T portion. There are 3 premises as standard finish for either retail or office, ranging from $13 to $15 roughly. This is all model derived. Total leasable area is 6,306 with a vacancy loss of 4%, expenses at 3%, shortfall at $9 per square feet, using an overall capitalization rate of 6.9% to get an overall value of $1,109,000. Now, if we go to the next portion, which is for the 40S portion, it's all assessed as C2, 3 premises under the same tenant, ranging from 1,500 square feet to 3,761 square feet, roughly between $12.50 to $13.36 a square foot, for a total leasable area of 7,109 square feet, using the same parameters of 4%, 3% for expenses, $9 for shortfall, 9 per square feet, and an overall capitalization rate of 6.9%, getting an estimated value of $1,201,000. And then on page 9, you can see we have the overall workup and the final total for this property at $2,310,000 with the 2 income streams. Page 10, we have the capitalization rate chart. If you can take a look at the retail portion with strip, STP, City of Winnipeg portion of the chart is between 20th and 80th percentile is 6 to 6.8%. Colliers is between 6 and 6.75. CBRE 5.75 to 7.5. Cushman and Wakefield 5.75 to 7.25. So appears to be the subject property is within range with the outside sources and a little bit above Colliers and City of Winnipeg ranges. We have INE response from the property management. You can see the commercial rent, the free base rent, general recoveries on page 12. However, I would like to point out to page 13, which is all the tenancy. If you zoom in, you can see that unit 1054, it has on the first floor. If you do the workup of the overall areas per square foot, it's roughly. Give me a second. I do have. Nope, I do not have the overall numbers. It's around roughly I think $13 a square foot for unit 1054, 1056, 1058, and 1064 and 1070 is all for the opportunities of independence, which is the portions for class code 40S. That's the institutional nonprofit that's doing work in the area. One of the premises start as of September 1st, I believe, 1999. It's a little blurry, I am sorry. For a monthly rate, of $845.50 for 950 square foot. If you do the annual, if you try to find the per square foot for the annual, it's roughly $10.68. And if you look at the other premises that they signed up for 2014 for units 1060, 1064, and 1070, it's the same rental rate at 1068, which makes it not a market rent. As for the number company, it's around $12-ish, and same with the Dr. Terrence Nikolai station. It's also around $12 or $12.50, roughly around there. I don't have the workup on me right at the moment. And the leases are, and those leases are much newer in comparison to the opportunities for independence. And then you have the furthermore responses about COVID. And then that is all for my presentation for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ho. Mr. Dupont, any questions on the assessor's evidence presented?
Yes, so it appears you're using higher rents than actual for opportunities for employment. Are you also using higher rents than actual for the other tenants?
Yes, they're a little bit higher than actuals than the overall than, our rents are higher than actuals, yes.
And opportunities for employment is over 7,000 square feet. So, and the other ones are 4,100, 852. So based on size, that tenant should have lower rent per square foot.
Based off the economies of scale, yes, but it also depends. I do have comparable rents on my page 6 that do indicate that larger spaces do command at least $12. Even I have a space for 3,550 square feet that's asking for $16 a square foot.
Okay, so we'll go to your page 6. 960 Portage shows up twice.
Yeah.
$16 a square foot in 1999. Did you check the file to see whether these rents were gross, semi-gross, or net?
I believe they're net.
We have an appeal on this property, and it's indicated that they are gross.
Okay.
And there was a recommendation by the assessor of the board to reduce that.
Okay.
Did you check into those at all to see whether it was rent?
I did not.
912 Portage has a high rent, $17 per square foot compared to the others, except for the 960 Portage, which were gross. So why would that one be higher?
Which one?
912 Portage is your second.
912 Portage?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure why this one would be more would be higher. It is rented. It appears to be rented out to an individual. It is a smaller unit in comparison to the rest of the comparables. So I'm assuming it's based off of smaller units to get to rent out at a higher rental net rent.
There's a pizzeria in that mall. So is that rent for the restaurant there?
This one is not with the restaurant. This is an office one, I believe.
It's an office in a retail shopping center?
I believe so.
Would the subject opportunities for employment be classified as office rather than retail?
The use is, we have it assessed as C2 standard finish for office or retail, so it can be easily converted for a retail front, or it could be used as like for an insurance company to walk in and you pay for your license, as an example.
You have a couple properties on Erin Street, which is not on Portage. Where on Erin would those be?
It's closer. It's closer to Erin and Portage.
And they have restaurants in that property also. Is any of these venture a restaurant?
I believe these ones do not have restaurants in them. They're more office-like.
Opportunities for employment. The lease was renewed May 1st, 2021. Did you check that particular lease?
It was provided. The lease was provided to me by the agent. Unfortunately, it is post-reference, and also it was lease renewed to the original lease value, that price per square foot that they had since 1999 when they first occupied their first space at this location. So I do not believe this would be an appropriate the $10.68 per price per square foot would be appropriate as market value for this property.
So when were the lease renewals for these properties? Did it change over the years?
No, they have not. There was no step up, and has not changed since 1999. They did add more premises back in 2014 from the looks of it, and still at $10.68.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Gail, any questions of the assessor?
Just in regards to the property, are there any building permits following the sale?
I did not see it. I did not see any building permits during my review. The sale is a dollar sale. It's probably just what they did just for consolidation for their own portfolio. I'm not entirely too sure what the dollar sale is entitled to. We generally don't conclude it into our analysis.
Right. And this the values were model generated. You took the pictures from the street. I thought I saw it noted though that you didn't inspect inside the building. Is that correct?
I did not do an inspection of the building. No. The pictures are actually from Google Street View. But yeah, it just looks, it doesn't look too much has been updated from the looks of Google Street View at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Those are all my questions.
Thanks, Gail. Lynn, any questions of the assessor?
I do, and it's mostly just to ask her to repeat some of the information she's already presented. I was madly trying to write down numbers.
I'm not too sure if I sound like muffled with this microphone.
Nope, you're coming through loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay, so what I am looking for
Yep.
is on page 13, back to the
13.
INE and the rents.
Okay.
So you were talking about the rents for the 40S portion, the opportunities for independence.
Yes.
I see that there's, 4 premises.
Yes, there's 4 premises.
Okay.
That's been added. That's been noted. So there is. So you can see there's unit 1056. That's their first unit that they rented out.
Right.
That was back in 1999.
Yes.
If you do the fund math, the math will be roughly around $10.68 per square foot.
Okay.
Same with the rest of the units for opportunities for independence.
Okay. So all 4 of them are 1068 based on this evidence. Okay.
Okay.
And again, then, there's the 3 that are the 60T portion.
Yes.
Which I guess is 1054.
Yep.
I can't. Trying to read that.
Yeah, I know.
1060, 1060, and
1062.
1062. Could you repeat what the rents were for that?
Okay, so one of them is roughly around $13. I think that's the 1054.
Okay.
1060, I believe, is around $12 or $12.50, and 1262 is $12 or $12.50. It's one of the other. I don't have the calculations on hand right now, unfortunately.
Okay.
Sorry. Usually I'm a little bit more organized than this.
Okay, so I guess then, okay. Nope, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate that very much, Ms. Ho.
Thank you, Lynn. Ms. Ho, I would like to know what your blended rates are for class code 60 and class code 40, please. The first one is 6,306 square feet. What would that blended rate be on those 2 units?
The blended rate, just give me a second. We usually don't look at blended rates, but okay. It looks like blended is $13.31 per square foot.
Okay, for the that's for class code 60, 6,300.
No, that's for everything, like for both class code 60 and the 40. If you want just 60, sorry.
Yes, please. Yeah.
The memento.
Yeah, if we could get a split there between class code 60 and class code 40.
Yep. Just give me a moment. Okay, so for the class code 60, we're looking at a blended rate of $13.42.
Okay.
For the 40S, give me another moment. We're looking at $12.91.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much for that clarification. And I have to ask, the last 3 pages of your brief is page 18. The appraisal, is there a reason for that being thrown in?
Because I am an ACI candidate. That's why it's in order to meet QSPAP compliance.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry for all the jumble.
No, that's what I thought, but I've just this is the first time I've seen it presented by you. Yeah, okay. All right, that's all my questions. Mr. DuPont, bear with us 1 second while we pull your brief up, please. Mr. DuPont, when you're ready, please, 1054 Avenue.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, 2 of my screens, I got 3 screens. They are frozen and my mouse is frozen. I cannot access my own report. Can I have 5-minute break so I can restart my computer?
Of course. Do you need 5 or? Okay.
Maybe less. My mouse is not working. I can't navigate whatsoever,
Okay.
so I have to restart. So
Yeah, we will now recess for technical difficulties for Mr. DuPont, and we will take 5 minutes, please. Thanks, Nicole. I will now call the hearing back to order. Mr. DuPont, it is your turn to present your brief. When you are ready, please, for 1054 Portage Avenue.
Okay, if you can go on my brief. First page shows a photo. I'm asking for 2,048,000. I dispute the rents only. I don't dispute the management, non-recoveries, cap rate, anything else. Strictly the rents. Aerial photo, you see the bit of an L shape. The map, then we can skip to page 13. It's a bit hard for me to navigate here. So that shows the summary of our income approach, so that we dispute the rents in red for the 2 parts, NSC and the 40S. So we also dispute the NSC. So the next page is I have to rotate that. Laptops are more difficult. They work. So we got 3 tenants there. So the first one, the 7. I better make that larger. So that one, the lease was signed April 2020, and it's $13 per square foot, 4,300 square feet. The smaller unit, 1060, 1108 square feet, that was signed in 2018 at $1,250. The other unit, 1062, 852 square feet, that was signed 2019 at $1,250. So that's the rents we used, which is average $1,284 per square foot. And at the bottom of the page, it shows what the assessor used. The assessor used $1,342 per square foot. The assessor used 6,306 square feet. Yeah, same square footage. So it's strictly the rent. So 1342 assessor, 1284 for us. So that one is not that big of a difference. And the next page is separate valuation for the opportunities for independence. This one's a 7,019, which shows the rent as of May 1st, 2021. We do have the lease. The lease was signed in 2020. So that starts after the reference date, but it was established before the reference date. So therefore, the meeting of the minds occurred prior to the reference date. So it should be allowed as evidence. And that lease was renewed 2021 till 2024 at 1068 per square foot. And that's the rent we used. Then you have the exact same parameters as the assessors or shortfall management, other cap rate, etc. So we get a value at the bottom of the page, 988 versus the assessment 1,201,000. And it shows on top of the page, lease signed November 3rd, 2020. And at the bottom of the page, it shows the parameters, the city parameters in red. So they have the rent 91,773, which is 1,291 per square foot, and that shows their value 1,201. So the strictly, we brought it down strictly to rent. Then if you go to the appendix, if we scroll to that, our rent roll was clearer. So page 22. That's the rent roll is at December 31st, 2020. So that one is clearer than what the assessor had. So we can see the like the first tenant, the original lease was 2015, but then renewed in 2020, and that's the one we use in our report. Opportunities is the second tenant, started in 1999 at 950 square feet, and expired April 2021. The other part, the 1058, started in 2014, and the last two, 1064, 1070, started in 2014. So most of that space is 2014. That's the age of their TIs. That's when they got tenant improvements to move in the space. When you got a new tenant, that's when the landlord spends money on the property to bring it up to the standards of the tenant. And so when you renew, usually the landlord does not have to put any money into it, or sometimes you may just give them a cash allowance. So physically, the space is not as good as the rest because it has old TIs. And it's also an office. So it has office space so that as a landlord, if that tenant moves out, the landlord has to demolish all the office space, make it a retail. So there's more cost to the landlord and or purchaser for that matter, because the uses an office. So, and it's older TIs, about 7 years old. So that's inferior due to that. The lease starts on page 24. I have to rotate, and I did. It says lease extension, first page, and the top of page 25. It says as of this date, November 3rd, 2020. That's when they established the renewal. And it says, whereas whatever the part of it was leased in 1999, parts were leased in 2020, 14, all parts in 2009, etc. So the lease terms, page 26, 1068 per square foot from May 21 to April 2024. Then at the bottom of page 26, I have a tenant inducement. So landlords agrees to provide the tenant $10,000 plus GST for tenant inducement, and the tenant can elect to use that as sole and absolute discretion towards TIs, or you can put it in their own pocket or whatever. So therefore, the landlord had to give a tenant inducement, which was fairly low on a per square foot basis. That if they would have renewed, it would have been 2-3 times larger than that. So that's the end of the lease. I guess back to our report, I do have comments. Oh, I thought I had some comments in that regards, but 10,000 TIs or tenant inducement for some thousand square feet is a little over $1 a square foot. And actually, they're saying that regular TIs could be $15 to $25 per square foot, so that it's a very small amount that they paid. So that to rent out to somebody else, they could potentially get higher rent, but then they would have to change the physical structure as to what it is. So based on the as is physical condition, 1068 per square foot is the market rent for that space, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. Ms. Ho, any questions of the applicant's evidence presented?
From opportunities for independence, which tenants would you say have licensed in more recently to the reference date?
Which other tenant in this shopping center you're saying?
Yeah, which tenants would you say are more recent to the the reference date?
Well, it's the 143.46 square feet at $13, April 1st, 2020.
Okay. Also, does the lease mention anything about renegotiation of the rent?
Yeah, it was the renewals established at 1068 per square foot.
Okay. That is all of my questions for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ho. Lynn, any questions of the applicant?
I do not have any questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Gail, any questions of the applicant?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dupont, I'm looking at your summaries there. On page, where are you? Page 15, 14 and 15. So you're the biggest reduction is on the class code 40S calculation. Is that right? That's right.
Yeah, I still believe the rents are too high for the fully taxable portion. But there is a big difference in rent and the 40S. The assessors at $12.91 rent, we're at $10.68, and that's the only area we disagree is strictly the rents.
Okay. That is my only question. Ms. Ho, any requirement for a summary on this property?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dupont?
Yes. So we did get the lease, and the lease was signed prior to the reference date. Therefore, the lease is admissible. The landlord had to give $10,000 in TIs or tenant inducement to be spent at how the tenant wanted to. And they renewed at 1068, so it's a valid renewal. And physically, this property is different than the others because the TIs are 7 years old. So physically, it's inferior to others, and it's physically inferior to any of the comparables the assessor had. I would also suggest that the assessor's comparables, some were gross leases, and others we don't know whether they were restaurants or why they're higher. Every property is different, and so what the rents we have in the subject property is the best indicator of market value. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dupont. That concludes item number 3, 10054 Portage Avenue. Next item on the docket is item number 4, file number 22-2639. Address is 3723 Portage Avenue, and we're dealing with a 2023 realty assessment. And Ms. Ho, I'm going to pull up your workup for for your recommendation. That would be number 3 on the SharePoint. Okay, Ms. Ho, could you please introduce the property for the record and go through your recommendation workup, please?
So roll number is 07212160500. Address is 3723 Portage Avenue. Value under dispute is $1,779,000. I believe. Just give me a second. Yes. The agent and I have come up with a joint recommendation to reduce the assessed value for this property to $1,672,000 on the basis of adjusting the vacancy allowance. There has been a little bit of vacancy and chronic vacancy for this location. That's why we merit a reduction based on that parameter, a specific parameter.
Okay. All right, Mr. DuPont, any comments?
I agree and accept that the recommendation.
Okay. Gail, any questions of the assessor's recommendation?
Just one question in regards to the vacancy. You noted that it was a bit of a chronic vacancy in relation to this property. So could you describe for us the duration of vacancy that's deemed chronic? Thanks.
So there was a fairly large portion of units in this property that had been vacated. So overall was like about 32% overall. As for chronic, it was we start looking into it if it's over, I believe, over 3 years. So I believe there was some older tenants that did not renew, such as like pizza place and an office space that did not renew, and there was a bit of a difficulty. I believe I'm assuming that the property management has difficulty attaining new tenants for the space during the time frame.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Those are all my questions.
Thanks, Gail. Lynn, any questions of either party?
Yeah, just one question. Ms. Ho, is the vacancy allowance the only parameter that you changed, or did you also change shortfall or cap rate in any way?
No, just only the vacancy allowance.
Okay, that's all. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Lynn. My question is Mr. DuPont. So Mr. DuPont, you accepted the rental rate, the expenses, and the capitalization rate as were presented by the assessor, but you both agreed to adjust the vacancy allowance from 4% to 7%. Is that correct?
I don't necessarily agree to individual parameters. I just agreed to the final.
Okay, fair enough.
And I did tell the assessor the vacancy was 32% and possibly higher because the owner reported that one of the tenants had downsized and the vacancy could be greater. And that's one of the reasons I don't have a reply today, because the owner said the vacancy was greater than 32%. Nevertheless, it's an overall value that we agreed to.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you for that explanation. Is there any requirement for summary by Ms. Ho?
No, thank you.
Okay. Mr. DuPont?
No summary.
Thank you. That concludes, 3723 Portage Avenue. And we have heard all the items scheduled on this hearing. And this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you to both parties for appearing. You'll hear from us as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye.